The whole world never say that when they egging on the beat. When everybody put on a song, everybody egging out, nobody don't be saying that. We feel like that right now.
That's your Gap hoodie. Is that right? He hit me. That's, see who he is shooting at? Yeah, all right, now back it up again. That's one of the dudes who helped set up Young Dolph's murder, talking brazen on tape like he forgot microphones exist. He's got even more to spill, claiming Yo Gotti's circle played a role and hinting there's a longer list of targets, which means the streets won't be rolling out any red carpets for this kind of chatter anytime soon. If he's really singing, he may have to watch his back forever. Let's lock in and run it back. This is the killing that shook a city and the old beef that lit the fuse. Memphis doesn't blink when it comes to keep it real, but nothing in recent memory hit like November 17, 2021, when Young Dolph, Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., 36, was gunned down in daylight at Makita's homemade butter cookies, his usual spot for sweets and a moment of peace.
Well, since our last interview, Justin Johnson, aka Straight Drop, got sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Young Dolph. Yeah. And in fact, I think they gave him another 50 years.
This wasn't some midnight backstreet situation. This was high noon energy, public, fearless, and cold, with witnesses and cameras all around. Dolph wasn't just a rapper, he was Memphis certified, a self-made boss who built paper route empire brick by brick, never bowing to any machine or middleman, and that's exactly why this hit looked like a message. The surveillance showed two masked shooters stepping out a white Mercedes, raising long guns and unleashing 22 rounds in seconds, while Dolph tried to grab cookies for his people. Then the shooters dipped clean, leaving behind a city in shock and a hip-hop world asking the same question: how did we get here? And who really called this play? Cops moved quick for a case this hot. Within months, there were 4 names and 4 sets of cuffs.
You know Big Juke?
Yeah, Juke was my boy.
Oh, that was your friend?
Yeah, that was my boy.
Well, in the trial, in the Justin Johnson Straight Drop trial, they say that Juke had a 100K hit on Dolph.
Justin Straight Drop Johnson and Cornelius Smith were tagged as the alleged triggermen. Hernandez Govan was labeled the supposed coordinator, and Justin's half-brother, Jamarcus Johnson, was charged as the helper who allegedly smoothed the escape and the payout. But anybody who knows this culture knows 4 faces rarely tell the whole story when the target is this famous and the motive feels bigger than a parking lot argument. Someone wanted Dolph gone, and the long-running whisper was always the same. This didn't start at Makita's, and it didn't start in 2021. To really understand the why, you gotta wind the clock back to one of Memphis rap's messiest feuds, Young Dolph vs. Yo Gotti. Not the cute kind with a few subtweets and playful jabs. This was deep, personal, and years-long, with crews, pride, and real street ties mixing in ways that never stay inside the studio.
How did you feel when Straight Drop got sentenced to the murder?
I don't feel no type of way. I don't put myself in that like that. I kill myself.
Around 2014, Dolph was ascending as the city's newest independent force, while Yo Gotti's CMG already had weight and respect. The story goes that Gotti allegedly tried to sign Dolph, smart business on paper, but Dolph had a blueprint of his own and wanted full control of masters and money, which doesn't always make friends in a town where sign with the Don is the path most folks choose. Dolph turned it down and claimed the love turned to shade. He even tweeted in 2016 that Gotti went from #1 fan to his biggest hater, which is the kind of line that changes the temperature in a room instantly. After that, the music got sharp. Dolph dropped King of Memphis in 2016, poking directly at Gotti's city crown. And in 2017, he swung with Play With Yo B Watch, a personal record that mocked looks and relationships on video and cover art with surgical disrespect. In certain spaces, that kind of violation doesn't stop at bars. It spills into the street because Memphis has real history, real crews, and real reputations that don't laugh off humiliation. By February 2017 at CIAA weekend in Charlotte, Dolph's bulletproof SUV ate more than 100 shots, and he walked away because the whip was armored. Then months later, outside the Loews Hollywood Hotel in LA, he got hit multiple times and almost didn't make it. Early noise around the LA shooting briefly floated Yo Gotti's name as a person of interest because he was staying nearby, but LAPD said he wasn't a suspect, and one associate who was arrested beat the case later. Still, the pattern was ugly. Every few months, a new almost, which made people think we were headed toward a bad finale. Fast forward to the courtroom, Justin Johnson's trial kicked off September 2024, and Memphis watched like the whole city had assigned seats. The state rolled out video of the white Mercedes and masked shooters, phone records allegedly pinging in the zone, and ballistics tying the guns to the job. But the earthquake came from Cornelius Smith, who flipped and testified for a chance at a lighter ride. Smith told the court this wasn't random street beef. It was a paid hit allegedly ordered by Anthony Big Jook Mims, Yo Gotti's older brother and respected CMG figure. He claimed a $100,000 bag was offered for Dolph's head, $40,000 each to him and Johnson for work, and $20,000 to Hernandez Govan for coordinating. Smith also said meetings happened with Big Jook before the hit, and that after Dolph was killed, they FaceTimed to confirm it was done. Plus, he alleged someone connected to CMG later covered $50,000 of his legal fees. If true, those claims suggest a broader ecosystem offering resources after the fact, but if true, is doing heavy lifting here. Johnson's lawyer attacked Smith's credibility hard, pointing to a jail note where Smith allegedly said he'd say anything to avoid life, and highlighting that the supposed $40,000 payment to Smith turned into $800 total, $500, then $300, which doesn't align with a slick, well-funded operation. That kind of short pay either means there was never a real bag, or someone got robbed twice, once on cash, once on truth. Even with all that smoke, the jury stamped Johnson guilty of first-degree murder, conspiracy, and gun charges on September 26, 2024. Life in prison in Tennessee means a minimum of 51 years, which is basically the rest of his natural life unless something extraordinary happens. But the conviction didn't close the book. It opened new chapters with bigger questions. If Smith's testimony about Big Jook is accurate, who else knew? And how high did that ladder go, if at all? There's no public evidence tying Yo Gotti personally to ordering or approving the hit. Allegations focused on Big Jook, not Gotti, and that distinction matters a lot in court and in life. Complicating everything, Big Jook was killed in January 2024 outside a Memphis restaurant, reportedly at a repast after a funeral. No arrests. Lots of speculation, and a key figure gone who can't answer or deny anything in court now. That death removed the one man who could have clarified whether he acted solo, with quiet approvals, or as part of something larger. Hernandez Govan, labeled by prosecutors as the mastermind, pleaded not guilty and, as reported, was found not guilty in August 2025. He's long been photographed with Memphis rap figures, including CMG-adjacent folks, but again, photos are not proof of a murder conspiracy, and the courtroom result speaks louder than timelines. Jamarcus Johnson, Justin's half-brother, took a plea in June 2023 for accessory, admitting he helped with escape and facilitating payment. His messages mentioning Big Jook lined up with parts of Smith's narrative, but he's also a cooperator trying to reduce his time, so juries and viewers alike have to weigh motives. There was also a brief eyebrow-raising moment when the accused reportedly hired attorney Arthur Horn, who had previously represented Yo Gotti and Black Youngsta. Horn later withdrew and publicly denied any CMG involvement, but that short-term connection added more fog to a case that already had too much smoke. Now to the loose threads that still bother everyone. If there was a $100,000 bounty and later a $50,000 legal cover, why did Smith say he only saw $800? Was the $100,000 just street talk, inflated to recruit shooters? Did the bag freeze after arrests? Did Jook's death kill any remaining payments? Or was there never a big bag, just small-time chaos wrapped in big-time names? If an organization truly ran a high-profile hit with six-figure budgets, you'd expect professional logistics and clean payouts. Sloppy execution, missed money, and contradictory stories sound less like boardroom-level orchestration and more like freelance anger weaponized by a few, with rumors later filling in the gaps. And then there's the street rumor loop. People theorized Big Jook's killing was retaliation tied to Dolph, but there's no proof publicly. The only clean facts: Dolph is gone, Big Jook is gone, one shooter is convicted for life, another flipped, one alleged coordinator beat the case, and Yo Gotti remains legally unlinked by published evidence. The bigger, sadder question is why this keeps happening at all, how the line between rap competition and real violence keeps getting erased. Hip-hop's battle DNA birthed classics, but when artists are tied to people with real triggers and real pride, a diss track can feel like an invoice for action, especially in cities where reputation is currency. Dolph leaves behind kids who deserved a father, a community he supported, and a blueprint for independent success that inspired a generation. Big Jook left family in pain and a mystery the city can't shake. The shooters and helpers faced decades or life behind bars for a few minutes of violence that fixed nothing and broke everything. Even with a conviction, the why remains messy. Was it ego, money, territory, label loyalty, old insults recycled into new grudges? We may never have the full picture, and the most crucial voice who could connect the dots, Big Jook, won't ever testify or explain what he knew or didn't. Here's the real. Young Dolph's murder is a brutal reminder of what happens when industry beef, personal pride, and street machinery collide. Families lose, cities grieve, and the music loses leaders it can't replace. That's not the game. That's a cycle we should be done with by now, because legacies get built in studios and neighborhoods, but they get buried when bullets start writing the last verse. If you want more deep dive follow-ups as this case and its orbit evolve, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss new updates. We break it down clean, separate facts from rumors, and keep the human cost front and center. Drop a comment with what you think the court record proves versus what's still street speculation. We'll feature the sharpest takes in the next video. If this helped you understand the moving pieces, like the video to push it to more viewers who only catch headlines without context. And if you want part 2, where we track appeals, any new filings, and how Memphis is reshaping post-Dolph, subscribe now so you actually get the alert when it drops tomorrow. Rest in power, Dolph. Your blueprint for independence still feeds the city, even when the lights get dark.